Warning, this documentary includes homophobic slurs and content that may be upsetting to some listeners.
In 2022 and 2021, there was a combined 1,461 hate crimes based on sexual orientation reported in Greater Manchester.
I don't think a lot of people get what it means to be actually a part of the community. Just because your life's so low don't mean you have to discriminate against ours. You didn't have to fight for who you are. If you're straight, you didn't have to fight for who you are and what you like to think as normal. But when you hate crime us, we don't say something back. We just keep ourselves quiet. It's like, you know what? People need to grow up. And it's like, we shouldn't have to walk around with that feeling. When you're mistreating someone because of how they look and present themselves, if you obviously part of
gender,
yeah. So if I'm wearing rainbows and lesbian flags all over myself, which I do, I'm not ashamed of who I am, and someone has said to me, "Oh look, it's another," that would be homophobia.
The number of lesbian, gay and bi people who have reported a hate crime or incident in the last year because of their sexual orientation has risen by 78%, from 9% in 2013 to 16% in 2017.
My friend and I had decided to go to a park where some of the people from our school hung around. We had a picnic and invited some other friends to join us. We ate and played basketball. I'm not great with heat, and this was the back end of June, so we went to a more shaded area of the park. We sat for a bit and everything was great until they came along. These 4 boys came up to us and started calling my friend a and just being rude. I felt that if anybody else stood up to them, then they wouldn't stop. So I told them to leave us alone, otherwise I'd report them. To be honest, I feel like I made it worse. 2 of them immediately started kicking my friend in the head and ribs. Without thinking, I moved myself in front of my friend to protect them, and I got hit. I don't know if I was punched or kicked or what, but I took a hit to my right side, fell and landed on my left. I was aware of him starting on my friend again, and then they just stopped. They ran away and I managed to grab my phone and call 999. It didn't really hit me what had happened. We were lucky. We had minor injuries. My friend had a mild concussion. I have something called elbow bursitis, which is a bubble of swelling on my elbow and it's pressing on my nerves. It still acts up even now, nearly 2 years later, because it's a permanent injury. My shoulder and wrist were, complaining, as they do. It wasn't anything serious, realistically. I had some nasty bruising on my ribs. That was about it. People don't realise how horrifying it can be to be in that situation. It never properly hit me. I've never processed that situation properly, because it was a case of right, move on. But I still remember my friend having a panic attack, begging me not to call police because it's just something that they were used to, because they're different. That's quite horrifying, actually. And out of an entire group of people, only one stuck up for them. I was the only one. In all fairness, I was the only woman that wasn't straight, so... But that day will always stick in my mind to some extent. I don't remember a lot of it. Literally that same day I wrote my own personal statement so that I didn't forget. I started to experience traumatic amnesia. Essentially what's traumatic amnesia? I don't remember a lot of that day. That was purposely blocked out of my memory. And you know what, I'm quite glad for that, but certain things remind me of it. The other day at work, somebody were banging on the side of the Becky station. Banging took me back to hearing the mate's head being kicked in. I was so lucky. The days after were full of drama. There was us getting visits from police, and then and one of my mates who was there said that he didn't do anything because at the time my best friend that I protected identified as a boy, has since come out as transgender, but at the time they identified as a lad, and one of the people that were there said that they didn't do anything because my mate was a lad. I didn't even think of that. I didn't care. I'd do it for anybody. He said that if he'd realised I'd been hit, then he wouldn't have that he would have done something. The person I was dating at the time wasn't there. He wasn't supportive about it. Not that many people were. A lot of people thought we were just being dramatic because it could have been worse. We could have ended up in hospital. The pair of us were having nightmares constantly since then. Physical effects weren't a big deal, but the mental effects were horrific. My friend and I, a couple of weeks later, we tried going out, hanging around our local town, and we saw one of the lads, and him and his mates started coming up to us, following us around, and neither of us we kind of froze at first. I tried to remain so strong for them, but it was impossible. You know, I made a joke about having been hate crimed and blah blah blah, but there's a lot more effects to it. If somebody raises their hand at me, I automatically flinch, even if they're just going for a high five or something. Me and my mate, we rarely go out anymore actually. For a long time I'd only go out if my mum was with me. My mum was the one who responded that day after I'd gotten off the phone with the police. Said, you know, it's alright if we go home and go somewhere safe, and I'll give you everybody's addresses. And my mate's mum wasn't picking up. My dad wasn't picking up, he were in work. And my mum was in the middle of dyeing her hair, bless her. She came out with a tourbillon covered in hair dye. And she was covered in hair dye. She's like, what is going on? Because I didn't say anything on the phone. I heard that, oh hello, are you alright? And straight away I just went help. Didn't tell her what was going on. I asked her for help, and I told her where we were, and she came to us. At this point my mate had already managed to get into contact with their mum and was having a panic attack down the phone. And my mum still didn't know what was going on, and I didn't tell her while my friend was in the car, because I didn't need my friend seeing me break down. I was supposed to be there for her, and now we're breaking down. You know, she didn't need to see that. We dropped her off at home, and my mum said to me, you know, what the hell? You were just supposed to go for a picnic. And I told her, you know, she let my dad know that there was an incident, didn't tell him what happened either. He had no idea until he turned up halfway through the bloody police taking a statement. Our police officer, he told us that specific day, within an hour, there was reported to be over 10 hate crimes in Sale alone. I just can't imagine what they were like for the rest of the counter. There was somebody I mentioned in my story who was affected by the attack, and I honestly have no idea how badly affected she was. And she wasn't even there, so this is my mum.
So can you tell me what happened that day from your perspective?
Okay, as far as I remember, I was busy in the house. I was actually dyeing my hair, and I heard my phone ring and went downstairs to get my phone and found out there'd been more than one call from you to my phone. Now, most people actually don't communicate with me by phone unless they need attention right now. Mostly we all talk via text. So to get one phone call says to me, I need to speak with you right now. To get multiple phone calls says this is a problem. I know that. So I called you back and you said that you needed help. So while I was on the phone call, I put some shoes on, asked where you were, even though I've still got the hair dye in my hair. Now I know where you are, and I've just locked the doors and gone. Because I know help is significant. And I know that instinctively. When I got there to where you were, at first I couldn't see you. And any reluctance to get out of the car with hair dye in my hair just wasn't there. I didn't even think about it at that point. So I dived out of the car and walked back and forth to see if I could see you, because the park is quite a big place. So although we had said which side of the park, knowing that the park's a big place, knowing that you said help, these dynamics had me searching rather than waiting. And I couldn't immediately see you. Went back to my car to relocate my car, and that's when I saw you. So it's like, right, okay, whatever's gone on, she's in one piece. They're both in one piece. Because I knew you'd gone out with and was still with you. So it's like, right, okay, whatever's happened isn't the worst case, that you're injured to the point that I can't get you out of the situation, that I'll need extra help. So a little bit of relief, a little bit, maybe even a little bit of confusion. Why help? If you're up, you're able to move, why help? What the hell's happened? I think that's probably what I said when you got in the car, what the hell? And as you told me, then angry on your behalf, ready, honest to God, ready to pound a teenager into the dirt, because I was so angry that you, and to an extent the others, had been victims of an unprovoked attack. So yeah, more than ready, actually, if you'd said, that's him, to get out of the car and beat the living daylights out of a teenager. Even though I know that's not sensible, probably not helpful, to be honest, but that's the feeling. I don't know whether I would have actually done it, but that's the feeling.
4 in 5 LGBTQ people who experience a hate crime or incident didn't report it to the police. 3 in 10 LGBTQ people avoid certain streets because they do not feel safe there as an LGBTQ person.